Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa ala sayyidina. So tonight there's one theme that I want to talk about, which is the theme specifically in verse 36. We heard وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. So it is not for the believing men and the believing women. And what's interesting about Surah Al-Ahzab are there are many verses that talk about the believing men and the believing women, whereas usually it's Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe. But inna al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat, the believing men and the believing women. Al-sadiqina wal-sadiqat, the men that are upright, the women that are upright. Al-mutasaddiqina wal-mutasaddiqat, so on and so forth. Allah uses both genders, male and female. So here in this verse 36, Allah says it is not for the believing men and the believing women to follow their own decision after they have realized the command of Allah and His Prophet. And whoever does that, meaning follows their own desires, then they have gone astray. And this, from this verse onwards till the end of the chapter that we read, there's this theme that Allah Ta'ala emphasizes the importance of the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the reason this is important for us, there's a few reasons. Number one, if you think about all of the other religions, all of the other faith traditions, one of the things that makes Islam unique is the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So everybody has a book, and everyone has some holy figure, prophet, messenger, Messiah, whatever that they look to. But the difference is we know with certainty what the Prophet looked like, what the Prophet ﷺ. There are two questions that the community asks itself. And we still ask these same questions. These are the two questions upon which, and the answer is the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's not, there's nothing else. There's no like Quran, Sunnah, and any poetry, or Quran, Sunnah, and Aesop's fable. No, it's the Quran and it's not the Quran and Sunnah and Alf Layla wa Layla and 1,001 Nights. No, it's Quran and Sunnah. We know that. Then the second question is how do we know that this is the Quran and how do we know that this is the Sunnah? And from that question comes the way we verify the Quran and the Sunnah. So therefore, we have a degree of certainty in our primary sources. And the reason I highlight this is that we have sometimes this tendency to assume that the Quran is somehow higher than or more important than the Sunnah. The Quran, no one's going to dispute the Quran, not yet at least. But everyone wants to talk about the Sunnah. It's all weak. Astaghfirullah, some people say there's a lot of garbage in the Sunnah. You hear this term. There's a lot of garbage in the Sunnah. And the reason is that the way we verify the Quran and the Sunnah, to make it simple for you, is if somebody, God forbid, are dying of some, odd disease. And then the doctor tells them, there's an experimental drug. Right? That's the weak hadith. It's experimental drug. And the person might take the experimental drug and they might be saved. And then you'll make sujood to the experimental drug. Like, alhamdulillah, it worked. The experimental drug, we don't know the effect that it's going to have, but it could save you. And this has happened throughout our history, that the weak hadith has saved the ummah because the weak hadith pushes the community towards righteous works. Many of the things that we do customary are based on weak hadith. But this has created the culture of Islam. So it's a technical concept. And then further, a few more verses further, Allah Ta'ala addresses the Prophet ﷺ. He says, إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ شَاهِدًا وَمُبَشِّرًا وَنَذِيرًا وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. Allah addresses the Prophet ﷺ. He said, we sent you as a giving glad tidings, as a warner, calling to Allah by our permission, and sirajan munira, and an illuminous light. So the Prophet ﷺ Allah refers to the Prophet ﷺ as a light. And then a few verses later, Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا, to emphasize the importance of the Prophet ﷺ. So the set of verses that we heard emphasize for us the importance of the Sunnah of the Prophet. And that's why we are called Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The majority of the Muslim, within the family of Islam, is that we are the people of Sunnah and the community. Because we take all of the sunnah of the Prophet. So we don't leave some of it. We take it all and we try to embody it, as I began with verse 36, to submit to what the Prophet ﷺ has taught us. Not to submit to what we think. I don't want to read the verse and I think the verse means this. That's dangerous. But rather, what did the Prophet ﷺ teach us about this verse? What are the companions? We go backwards, not forwards. And then we try to take those meanings and apply them till today. That transaction. So the Sunnah is really one of the blessings of this tradition. It's one of the miracles of this tradition that it's preserved. It's preserved in the literature that has been documented on those from our ancestors. All those statements and all of those stories and all of those descriptions about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his actions, his speech, his affirmations, what he affirmed in public, that's also part of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these set of verses talk about that. So something for us to think about, and don't forget to make dua tonight more than usual, because tonight is the night of the 23rd. Faith. No. يعني الله ما أطاع الرسول. يعني إحنا يوم تقلب وجوههم في النار يقولون يا ليتنا أطعنا الله وأطعنا الرسول. Let me see. يعني في خطأ في So Anas is saying that there's a discrepancy in the script of the Quran on some of the phones. Okay. So in verse 66 of Surah Al-Ahzab, if you're following on the phone, the last verse is supposed to be a sukoon on the alif. And in the Quran, in the script, it's written as sukoon. And also in verse 67, the last word of the verse is as-sabila. And when you stop a verse, it should also be a sukoon. Yeah. One period of elongation, not two. But in the phone, for some reason, there's no sukoon after the alif. It's very technical. I don't know if anyone, only Anas can pick this up, right? But anyway, this is an announcement by Anas for the script.
مالك يوم